Hello and welcome back guys to an F1 video. Today we're doing the USA Grand Prix for the Texas Grand Prix. We currently sit in 10th in the standings with 18 points over Yuki Tsunoda, who's got 16 points in 11th, and our teammate has 13 points in P12 in the driver's standings. We currently sit in 6th in the constructor's standings, as me and Gasly have gotten a combined total of 31 over Visa Cash at Par B, who are in 7th with 20 points. I'll simulate through the days of the week here, as we have the Texas Grand Prix up next. We got a front wing flap profile coming onto the car, and it's done so successfully.
Okay, mate, I'm pleased to say that
gotten some more resources,
any issue, so they'll be on the
as we might be able to do an upgrade here. As we got front wing gurney flap is possibly able to come off. So we've got some good aerodynamics at the moment. We've got some upgrades that we can do in the chassis department. All minor upgrades. We have a possible development upgrade for the ERS cooling, but it's only a minor upgrade, and we're not going to look at durability. So we're going to do a major upgrade in the aero department, and it will be on for Brazil. Simulate through further. The ECU next coming on, and Gasly successfully gets that one on. And we currently sit in this. We are right now currently 6th in the performance comparison. And we got a couple upgrades on for this race, so it'll be even faster than we were last race. On to qualifying. We have some substantial rumours going around in the paddock about regulations for next season. Seems like we've got chassis regulations for the next season, so we're going to have to save up for that.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying.
As we round the final corners of the lap, we get ready to go for our first sprint qualifying lap. Off we go. Go down the main straight, uphill, into the corner. We're looking to get ourselves into Q2 hopefully, and hopefully we can get further and maybe get some sprint points if possible. But we need to be there mainly. I prefer to be in qualifying 3 for the main race, as that's where most of the points are held, as we go purple in the first sector. We round the final corners of the lap, going into the final part of the sector. We go over the line with a 1:33.6. We top the timing sheets here in Texas. We top the session over Charles Leclerc and Alonso. Our teammate gets P6 or P8 in the qualifying, as Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Joe and Sargent are all eliminated. The two Saubers, the one Haas, one Williams and one Visa Cash App are B out of qualifying. We round the final corner to our main lap. Our main lap for qualifying as we go on the straight. We round the final corners of the track as we go to finish our lap. We go across the line with a 1:34.2. Pretty decent lap for us. Not as good as our first qualifying lap, but it is around about there. Max Verstappen tops the timing session over Lando Norris and Alonso. We come in P4 with a solid lap time of ours. The 5 eliminated drivers are Stroll, Sonoda, Gasly, Albon and Hulkenberg. Our teammate being in P13 with a 1:35.1. He had a 1:34.9 in the last session, which actually wouldn't have changed his position if he got that anyway. So overall, we're on to Q3. On we go, on to our final qualifying lap of the sprint qualifying. We got a decent last corner there to help us earn a good start. We go very wide into that corner. Not great, that won't help us get a higher position in this qualifying session as we look for any chance of getting points. We round these couple of corners, looking for any time we can gain out of the last. Go very wide there. Now up to the line. Up to the line we go. We put in a 1:33.3. We're in second. Max Verstappen tops it over ourselves and Alonso. Norris in P4, Perez P5, Oscar Piastri P6, Russell and Hamilton 7th and 8th, and Leclerc and Sainz 9th and 10th. On to the sprint race.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside of the great city of Austin. This is a 3.6-mile lap with 20 corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Daniel completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, Sonoda, Gasly, Albon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Joe, and Logan Sargent. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And joining me in the commentary box today with the best view on what is about to unfold and some strong views on the action we're about to see, Naomi Schiff. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Okay, so for strategy today, it's just going to be mediums to the end.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint. We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
5 red lights. And away we go for the Texas Grand Prix. We get a somewhat decent start over Alonso, but Verstappen has the best start out of all as we go into turn 1 in 2nd place. Just look to keep as many spots as we can, as we know our car's not meant to be here in this part of the track. As we go well wide and go very slowly out of that corner. Go through the winding track here. As we head away out of that turn behind Verstappen in front of Alonso. Currently, if we stay this position for the whole race, we'll end up getting 7 points for the team, which will be critical for the end of the season, as we need to stay ahead of Visa Cash App RB for as long as we possibly can. We get DRS on Max Verstappen out of the turn. Now on lap 2 currently with the green first sector. We're looking good at the moment in this race. And we'll just hope to keep as high a position as we can. As Perez is battling with someone behind him. Currently as they're dropping off, Perez and Sainz fighting each other, which is helping us as they drop further and further behind, which will mean we'll have less cars to actually go for us at the end. Move as we just stay behind Verstappen. We go very wide out of that turn, which sets us up poorly for the next couple of corners. So we try to keep our ways behind Verstappen, as Alonso and Norris are pressuring from behind. We use ERS and DRS to get our way on Verstappen. We go around the outside and try to hold our line as we go into the next couple turns. We take the inside going into this turn here, and we're able to make the position on Max Verstappen as we go up into P1 in the sprint race. We get a warning for exceeding track limits there, as we went a little bit wide, or a little bit on the inside. Verstappen goes around the outside on us here into turn 1 as he looks to make the move on us. So he goes down the inside. We have to leave the space as he goes into the S, and we have to give the position back. So Max Verstappen takes P1 back from us, but he was probably anyway on this straight upcoming here. Oscar Piastri making the move on Sergio Perez at the moment, down in P5, as he's been stuck behind Sainz and Perez, who have been battling for most of the race, as we look to continue behind Max Verstappen as he makes his way around the track. We use ERS and DRS down the straight. We look to make a move in Verstappen going into turn 1, and we go way too deep and off the track.
Alright, so we've been looking at the damage and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
As that mistake has cost us our entire race now, because now we're back in P10 with a broken wing. So we'll probably end up retiring from the race by going into the pits at the end of this lap. Now we come into the pits to retire from the race. And we're at the session.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
an unfortunate race for us, as we were looking for high points in this race. So we just forgot to brake as Verstappen was just off his line. He was trying to defend his way out of it. And we forgot to brake and then ended up costing ourselves any points.
Well, that's an end to the sprint action. Next up, we'll set the grid for the Grand Prix. So we'll see you next time.
Max Verstappen wins the race over Lando Norris and Alonso. Our teammate comes in P11 out of the points by 16 seconds off the lead too. We DNF'd just like Ricciardo did. Ricciardo had a DNF'd at 1.2, so we weren't the only DNF'er. On to qualifying.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying.
Around the final corner we go, onto our first lap. We use ERS and ERS down the straight. Hopefully qualifying can go similarly as it did in the sprint race, as that would mean we'd be quite far up the grid at the start. We go around the first corner, nicely done. And now we go around the winding part of the track. Go around the next parts of the track as we use everything we've got to make sure we get as high as possible in qualifying. Overtake on and DRS open as we go down the straight. Go around the final corners of this lap and we go over the line in the 136. Max Verstappen comes home in P1 for qualifying, as Sergio Perez is number 2 and Carlos Sainz rounds off the top 3 with his 3rd place. We got myself in P7 and our teammate in P11. The drivers who are eliminated are Ricciardo, Joe, Sargent, Magnussen and Hulkenberg. 2 Hasses, 1 Williams, 1 Kick Sauber and 1 Visa Cash App RB. Going on for our first lap in Q2. We get started on the straight. Over the line we go for a 1:33.5 as Verstappen puts on a really good time at the top and others improve over us quite regularly here as we're now in P6. So Max Verstappen tops the session again, as Perez comes in 2nd as well again, and Hamilton comes for 3rd. We are down in 9th place in the grid, as we have our teammate who's in 11th behind us. The 5 people out of the session are Gasly, Stroll, Tsunoda, Albon and Bottas, as our teammate came in 11th. We go on to the start of the lap. Now we're hoping anywhere from here would be nice, so we're just hoping for any result above 10th, as we've already reached our maximum, which is 10th. Go around the final corner, we post in a 1:33.8. Will that be enough for any high position? No, it won't. We're out in Q3 in number 10. Max Verstappen again tops the timing sheet over Hamilton and Russell, who've round out the top 3. Charles Leclerc's 4th, Lando's 5th, Alonso is 6th, Sainz is 7th, Piastri 8th, and Sergio Perez 9th, and ourselves number 10. On to the race.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. It's 10 to the left and 10 to the right. I'm not talking about a line dance, I'm talking about the corners here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and turn 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6 mile track. But we may well see cars struggle to slow down here today as the wet weather interferes with the low-speed grip. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Daniel, Gasly, Stroll, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas, Ricciardo, Joe, Sargent, Magnussen, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Alongside me here in the commentary box today, former racing driver extraordinaire Naomi Schiff. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
So for strategy, it's going to be inters for most of the race, pretty much all the race. So we won't have any strategy to deal with.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway. These are wet conditions here today. Each driver will no doubt be mindful of the wet surface as they prepare to race around the track. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Five red lights. And away we go for the race. We get a decent start, but our teammate gets a better one. As he goes down the outside, looking to the inside to get any positions he can. We just stay behind him as he goes for a position on Perez if possible. We won't be able to get that position, so we're in P10 and 11, but in a reversed way of where it started. We'll just stick behind Gasly as we go through these treacherous conditions. And now we'll just sit behind him for as long as we need to, as there isn't really much else that we need to do apart from stay behind him. He's gone off the track, or is retiring from the race, as it seems to be. Sauber's gone off the track, as well as a Williams. And so we go on to the straight. We're currently 26 in the rear right tyre at the moment, so we're doing well with wear. And Tsunoda and Stroll are well behind us now as they're over 3 seconds back. So we're currently in the clear. Our teammate's into the pits for some reason. He's going really early, as he must be doing a 3-stop, which is not good for us, as he won't be in the points then if he does that. Tyres currently sit at 48% of the rear tyres, so the rears are wearing more than anything else at the moment. and we're currently sitting in P10 with 1 point as Gasly's already pitted and he seems to be on a 2-stop strategy, whereas we're on 1-stop strategy. Tyres seem to be dying at the moment as they're going off their use-by date.
Yellow flag. Okay, be aware there's an incident in the next part of the track.
Yellow
No
flag ahead.
overtaking through the yellow flags. Okay, information
And Carlos
on
Sainz is out of the
okay,
race.
it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
So we're going to have to pit under the safety car as a result of what's happening.
We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Yeah, so now we come into the pits for a pit stop.
One stop left in this strategy.
We aren't really going to get much use out of this safety car, the virtual safety car, but we will try and get what we can.
Okay, go, go, go. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. Up to
Now
speed
out we
now.
come
Let's get some
onto
heat
the
into
track.
those tyres.
We come out around the same spot as where our teammate is, behind Hulkenberg, but right along near where our teammate is. On fresh inters now. Around the outside we go on Hulkenberg, and which turns into the inside, but he's able to cover us off as we now look to go around the outside, and we can't, so I have to stay behind Hulkenberg. We'll use our ERS on the straight that's coming up to get ourselves as close as we possibly can to Hulkenberg. Use our ERS and deploy everything we have to get our position. We go around the outside on him into the turn and we gain the position before we get there. And Magnussen and Gasly are battling ahead, and we'll look to go around the outside with Magnussen, but we can't. And we slide our way out of position, and now we're back behind Magnussen by a fair way. And we deploy ERS and try to catch up to Magnussen as fast as we can. We look to the outside of him as our teammate's making a move on Sargent ahead. We leave a little space and we get through on Magnussen as our teammate gets through on Sargent. Now we look to make some ground on others as we go ahead.
Okay,
Look
mate. Tyres are
around.
wearing at quite a rate here, mate. Please try and look after them. I've got information on Stroll. They seem to have an issue.
Stroll has an issue now in this race which will help us out as he is ahead of us, so slow down the drivers that are above us. So we go down the inside on Sargent looking for an overtake. He gives us a little amount of space, not too much, but it's enough for us to get the move done.
2.7 seconds.
Now we got to catch up to our teammate Gasly, as now we're both through the field. Bottas goes into the pits and so do a few others. We'll get time gained on them as we go fastest. Gasly tries to make a move on Ricciardo as he goes down the inside. We make it 4 wide into the turn as we go for a position on Ricciardo as well. We make the move work on Ricciardo as our teammate goes through and he makes the move on Ricciardo as well. Stroll coming into the pits and so are a few others who need to pit as Norris goes around, well, in the inside of us going into turn 1 before we make it there. As Gasly goes up above Piastri in positions as he's undercut a lot of drivers, except I think he's making one more stop, so he'll still have a stop to go. Yes, Norris and Gasly fighting for position now for P7 as Norris makes the move on his fresher tyres as Gasly's 7 laps old and Norris is 2 laps old, so he's been able to make the move pretty comfortably there. Gasly dives into the pits for his second pit stop of the race. Seems to be the only driver that's on the 2-stop strategy, as we are probably going to do the same as well and pit in next lap. Perez goes down the inside for a move. He makes it happen for a little bit, but we keep holding the inside as we go to the inside of this, and we keep the position. Yellow flag behind us. I think Perez is out of the race, or he at least went off the track, as he's losing time left, right and centre, and he's out the race.
Right,
The virtual safety car is deployed.
And we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Okay,
We get back onto full speed as we're going to pit in this lap after Perez is out. We got 20 seconds, so we're clear on Stroll. We'll be able to get ourselves back into P10 pretty quickly. We come into the pits to box for some new inters.
We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Optimal stopping time, so we're going to get a decent stop out of this.
Okay, mate, that's it. Go, go, go. Perfect job.
As now we come out of the pits, we're going to be behind a few drivers here, as our teammate seems to be in the pack, and he's behind Bottas. As Gasly goes down the inside on a move on Stroll, and he gets the position. As we go around the outside on Bottas, we hang it around. We can't quite make the move into the S as we go, and we make the move on Bottas, as Stroll has lost his position to Gasly. Seems to be a yellow flag behind. I think it's a Haas car that has gone off. He must have rejoined the track. As we use our ARS again, we look to overtake Tsunoda if possible. Gasly looks for the move. He makes it around the outside, and he will hold the outside line as he goes into the turn, and he won't quite get a position yet, at least, and he'll stay right behind Tsunoda. We go down the inside on Gasly to take the position. So he hasn't been making the move on Tsunoda, so we're going to take this position off him to get our chance at overtaking Tsunoda. We go through the S's, we look to the inside, look to the outside, we move around the outside of him, which turns into the inside, and we take the position off of him. And now we wait for hopefully Gasly to do a somewhat similar move, as that would be ideal for him. We do some lifting and coasting, as we try to hopefully get Gasly past Tsunoda. As he looks for the move, he goes down the inside this time, and he makes the move happen. He makes it so much that he's going to pass us in the meantime. We'll battle away for this position, as he's going to overtake us, and he's made the move. Max Verstappen wins the race in P1, followed by a Mercedes, or 2 Mercedes, who come in P2 and 3. And we'll come home for a P8 and 9, which has been a solid race for us. And RB haven't beaten us in points this race, so it's good for us. We'll come around the final corners of the track as we go to the final corner now to come home for P8 and 9 as a team. Good stuff for us.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
Wow, that's 3 wins in a row. They really are on a roll now and really building great momentum. They're clearly one to look out for.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
So Max Verstappen comes in P1 before Lewis Hamilton and Russell, who round off the podium. We get P8 and 9 in this race, as we get 6 points as a team over RB's 1 point. 2 DNFs today of Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz, helping us get higher in the points, otherwise we would have been 10th and 11th. And we currently sit in P10 in the standings with 20 points over Gasly and Tsunoda, who both have 17 points in P11 and 12. Max Verstappen at the top of the driver standings over Norris and Leclerc. As in the constructor standings, we clear our gap against Visa Cash App RB, as we're now leading by 16 points after we started the race leading by 11. We have Red Bull in P1, P2's McLaren, and P3's Ferrari. We beat Sargent in our rivalry, getting 1,000 at 410 focus. We gain experience, racecraft, awareness, pace, and focus. We're now back a percent in recognition, so we're back to 48% of recognition over Gasly. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to stay tuned. If you want to watch more videos, make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one, in part 12 or part 13 of our career mode. Goodbye.